Bonsoir, mes amis. Grüezi, meine Freunde. Hello, my friends. This is Enzo again at the Alliance for Loki. Just want to go on a little bit ahead of time since I'm just want to make sure everything was working, my stream was working, and so I think it is. And let's jump into the game. The game will be more in the background today than it will be anything else. Maybe I'll put a link into the old For Loki chat just to say hello to them. Hey, Ben Moody and Ben Mansur. Salam alaikum, my friend. And Judah, hello. Welcome, everyone. Very exciting stream today. Definitely. Been looking forward to talking to Brian Grant for a long time. Hey, Too Extreme. I know I sort of was like off for streaming just a little bit. Maybe it was a week, maybe it was a month. I can't quite remember. But now I'm back So yeah, but I was going to do this for the 1000th episode, but it just got too hard to schedule. Like I just didn't have time to get the schedule to work, and so. But then Brian reached out to me and said, "Oh yeah, let's talk for your 1000th," and so we're at 1002, so pretty close. But I'm still very excited for tonight. I feel like, being a YouTuber, of course, you interact with the audience and you're able to talk with them, sort of. I mean, you're the one who does most of the talking. You can answer their questions and see them. Hey, Andrew, what's going on? Crushing it in the game, crushing it in life. Was it you who took the boss today? I can't remember who it was. But another one of my BG3 members. And yeah, we won. Oh no, these are just Alliance Quest rewards. So after a miserable start to the Alliance War season, we are slowly crawling our way back up. Let's go see what the Alliance Wars say. Let's see, where is it? Alliance Wars. Probably still in Platinum 1 season. Oh, we've climbed up. Hey Chuck, hello. Welcome to the stream tonight. Hope you're doing well. So we are at the top, right above DSVG, home of J. Will and who's the other one? Who's in there? Is it FinTech? No. So hopefully we can get back into Masters. We just lost so many close wars. Took a 2-month break. Had a death. Oh no, I won no part of nothing. Now I'm slowly coming back. Oh, I'm glad you're here, Too Extreme. Sorry, I forgot to give you the surfer sign like I always do. It's how much I've forgotten. Yeah, I can understand that. It's hard to have things going on in your life and then also like play these games at the same time. Conversation. I spelled conversation wrong. Yep, it looks like I did. Yeah, he is BWF. It's good to be out. You should see my DMs with Manuel. It's all just like hundreds of little voice memos. Before every war fight, he like sends me a little voice memo on how to fight it. It's about the cutest thing ever. Hey AE2, welcome my friend. Hello all, hello Enzo. Thank you. Hello to you. Welcome to the stream tonight. Haven't played MCOC for a couple months too. Wow, planning on coming back to play 8.2 whenever it's coming. It must be coming soon. They made huge announcements about it, and so yeah, it is all set. Still 2 rank 2s away from Paragon. I feel the pressure. Yeah, after that announcement, they were like, "You must get Paragon. Get Paragon. You must get it." And so it's an interesting game, and I'll talk a little bit with Brian about this. How, it's like the rich get richer in this game. It's like, I think I'm up to 51 rank 2s now. I mean, it's just like the materials roll in. I could rank 4. Rank 4 is what I meant. I could rank 4 someone now, but I don't even know who I want to. So I want to save and wait for the Deadpool event and see maybe I could rank 5 someone. I wish rank 5s were coming in a little more quickly, to be honest. I feel like with the introduction of 7 stars, well, I guess maybe I don't want them to be coming quickly. I'd rather this game move slow than move too fast. Hello, Korean Tryon from Mania. Oh, I just quickly saw that he was on a minute ago when I was getting my stream ready. My only hope is that I had never used Discord at all, so I'm a little worried about Discord. We'll see. We'll see if it works. If not, this could be a very short conversation. I mean, I guess it works. I don't really know how. I guess I can just click on it and uh, and see what's happening. The only friend zone I'm okay belong to. Yeah, it's always interesting. Like in the history of my name, of course, when I started my channel, I was like, oh, I have to come up with some interesting name. And I sort of knew what friend zoning was, but not really. I mean, I don't know if I've been in Switzerland too long to be out of like, the mainstream American slang, but maybe I've certainly been a long time since I've been in the States now. And since my work is in English, but I speak, with people who are non-native English speakers, and I speak a fair amount of French too at work. And so, yeah, I'm not using a lot of slang at all. But hello, Zafar. Welcome. And get myself dinging. Okay. See what's going on in the game. It's sort of been a little bit of low. Did all right in the rewards. How many 6 stars you missing? Basically only and hello, Shalom Avner. I'm only missing the ones that are in like the featured or some rare ones. Like it's pretty insane how many I have. Well, I basically have all of them. Oh, nice, Brian. Okay. I'm ready whenever you are. So yeah, let's do it. Let's see if I can invite you to chat. I've never done Discord before. Double clicked on you. No servers in common. Move friend block. Yeah, okay, got it. How do we talk on this thing? Maybe you have to invite me. I might not know how to talk on this. So, thoughts on 7-star pool? I would say average, to be honest. I mean, I think they definitely were very smart. Oh, wait, there's a little start voice call. Let's try this. Allow. Bonsoir, Enzo Eigen.
Hey, Enzo, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Brian. Good to hear from you.
Awesome. Yeah, this is gonna be fun.
I know. I've been looking forward for many years to get to talk with you.
Yes, same. You always have the best questions, in my streams. So I'm looking forward to all the questions that you have today.
Yeah, that's what I've always thought about YouTube. It's such a one-sided existence. I mean, I'm always talking with the people on my stream, and I get to, just expound for hours upon hours, but you never really have conversations.
Yeah, yeah. Always the option to with something like this, but you're right. It's in many ways one person talking with. I consider them like mini conversations,
Yes.
With the people in the stream.
And I found the few times that I was streaming a lot with Lefty and others. And yeah, there's an awkwardness to it. I think, there has to be a lot of ground rules that you like somehow innately establish, else it doesn't feel good.
Yeah, it's also, there is a little bit of awkwardness because, it's, we don't see each other, right? So we're kind of missing like that body language. Like I'm watching the stream, but it's also, a little delayed and you can't see my face. So there's always that slight awkwardness because of that.
That's true. Of course, Swiss style greetings too. It always makes me laugh when I talk with my friends from the States because we always say our name first. It's always like, hello, Enzo Eigen. It's like when people say, hello, Enzo to me, I'm like, oh, they're calling themselves my name. And I always laugh at that.
Oh, okay. I mean, we do that a little bit here. Sometimes people will answer the phone and they don't say hello. It's just, Brian Grant, that's it.
Ah, you say your name. That's good.
Sometimes. I usually don't, but I definitely hear some other people do
that. Chat, it's going to be difficult for me to interact with you too much, unfortunately. And so, just because I want to be able to talk, of course, primarily with Brian, but I'll try to say hello. And so, hello, Youngin, MCOC, and Larson, and Judah, and Avner again. And so, let's start off with 7 stars. I mean, what was your reaction to it?
Yeah. Okay, so my reaction was better than expected, I would say. Um, I think it was a more exciting than when 6 stars were coming out. 6 stars felt like, first off, it felt more of like a blindsided kind of moment, um, because there was no like sort of a soft launch that they did where like they announced it ahead of time and let us collect some 7 star shards and stuff. It was just like, no, we're announcing 6 star shards and they're gonna be here, next month or something. Um, so there wasn't really anything too special about 6 star champions at the time compared to 5 stars. It did feel like a direct replacement in pretty much every way. And in some ways, 7 stars, yeah, they are a replacement of 6 stars. They're the next, piece of the contest here. But I do feel like there's more newness to 7 stars. The Titan crystals, that seems pretty interesting. Where it's very similar to featured crystals, but also different. It's a different shard type, where you're not really making a decision of like, do I go basic or do I go featured? It's now going to be this sort of extra thing that you work towards.
Yeah, I feel like they've learned their lesson, because like if I look at my account now, I have something like 700,000 6 star shards, which I basically only use once every 90 days. I just wait for the feature and then get every featured, and then usually have like 200 and 300,000 left over. So it's become, I feel like they're learning a little bit from just not mistakes, but like how the game has functioned in the past.
Yeah, totally. I would agree. I mean, and there was like a little bit of a shift between 5 and 6. I was saying there wasn't, as much, but I guess technically thinking back on it, the old 5 star featured, it used to be a 20% chance. Do you remember that? Where it was like,
absolutely,
it was like the blade crystal, and you'd have like a 20% chance at blade, and then the other champs that were like recently released, I think there was like a sub feature or something, and then of course we went to the 24 champion pool. But you're right, it does feel like they're kind of learning a little bit of some of the pros and cons of that, and trying to incorporate that into now a kind of different variation of that.
It's definitely more of a ascension system where you get one to get to another, and so I mean, I like that better, just because it means I won't ever like have to worry about hoarding so many crystals. I just get to open them, and because they'll just be basic.
Yeah, you'll always just be able to open up your 7 star basics. I mean, I guess like you still have the option to hoard your crystals, and I mean, you already know I'm kind of big on that, but I don't think I'm going to be holding my 7 star shards, not at the start here, or potentially ever, because I think I'm just gonna want to open them all the time.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't seem like there's much reason to hoard them. In fact, if you're going to get the Titan shards from opening them, I guess you'd want to open them. And so
yeah, I mean, the basic pool will expand over time, of course, but for the most part, I don't think I'm gonna hoard them. And then I'd say the other big thing about the 7 star launch was the stat focus, I think they called it, where you get to pick different, a little bit of customization, offensively and defensively, and I think that's really cool. I think that's I would imagine, at least, there's some people that would have preferred something else in combat, the same way that adrenaline works. But there is so much in combat already, and it's nice to, if we like a certain champion, we can increase the things that we like about that champ, or overcome one of the drawbacks. So like Kingpin not having a high crit chance, giving him a little bit of a crit boost, that feels pretty good to me.
Yeah, that was interesting. It reminded me of relics. I feel like that's sort of the idea behind relics in a way. Of course, relics are a lot less options. You sort of just get like one or two different attributes to decide on, and so it seemed like their owners had made up for like what I thought relics should have been.
Yeah. Actually, I thought this does It's exactly that. It does remind me of what I kind of originally thought of for relics of, getting to just kind of pick and choose this way. Ultimately, I think relics are going to have way more variety in the long run because there's going to be the same number of relics as champions, right? So you're going to kind of be picking, but they're like kind of harder to decipher exactly what you want because they'll be enhancing more specific things.
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like people
so they're both kind of interesting in their own way.
Yeah, I really feel like people have sort of ignored relics. I actually sort of like them. I think they're a cool extra piece of the game. They haven't changed it too much, but other than giving a couple extra hits and a stun, I really don't use them other than that, and some prestige.
Yeah, I imagine that'll change as we get higher level ones. They probably wanted to kind of proceed with caution and not give too large of a stat increase for these ones. I also think, right now they very specifically called these battle cast relics with the striker ability. So I'm curious to see if and when there's going to be like a different variation of a relic that potentially doesn't have a striker attached, and like what's that going to look like? Is it just going to be maybe more stats, or is it going to be a different type of bonus? I feel like they could do a lot with relics, whereas champions, champions they do more and more with them as time goes on for each release. But the champs that once they're made, they're kind of set. Outside of getting maybe the occasional buff here or there, but like let's say Rocket just got buffed. He's not going to get another buff. His kit is just set as is. But for relics, there could be more and more variations kind of thrown out there that change the game in different ways than what we're already used to, and then that could be applied to these older champs too.
Yeah, I must admit, when I first heard about 7 stars, I was thinking I might have to decide if I'm going to continue playing this game or not. It just seemed like it was it's just sort of at this crossroads for me. To be honest, I like having every champion. I mean, it's been nice, and I've had every champion, or more or less every champion, for like a few years, it feels like, or nearly every champion. And so yeah, I don't know, it's gonna be weird to go back and start having to do the collection all over again. And to be frank, I've enjoyed not having to open like Cavalier crystals. I mean, as fun as it is and as cool as it is part of the game, it is also, yeah, I mean, it's costly, it costs a lot of money. It is, you just get, it's so low a percentage chance too that I feel like you either get super lucky, or in my case, I mean, I intentionally like made sure I'd open enough to offset the terrible odds that I would get it like almost every time. And so
Right.
I don't know if I can live through that experience again.
Okay, I mean that's fair. It probably will be quite costly if you wanted to do the same thing, and yeah, that's totally understandable. I think there's nothing wrong with kind of either changing courses in life and what you enjoy doing, or if it's not like a permanent change, then even just a temporary one. And it's always something that if you enjoy, you could always come back to it too. So
that's true.
I think a lot of times, because of how long we've been playing this game, it feels like these bigger decisions, they are more important, whereas it's not that big of a decision, I don't think, that needs to be made where like you can never change your mind. How many people have we seen just take a break and they say they're quitting forever, but a month later they're back, or maybe a year later, or maybe some people don't come back. But the point is, like, that option is always there. It doesn't have to be like a permanent never gonna play again sort of thing.
No, definitely not. And I've still enjoyed this game so much. I just have sort of enjoyed the state it was, where it's actually sort of like, to me, at almost an end game where, of course, it's still rank fives, and I enjoyed like the slow, like getting rank fives, but it was I don't know. Some part of me was like, if this was the end, it's okay. I like it. I don't need to keep on going towards another end, which is never ending, which I know is the point of the game, of course.
Right. No, I totally understand that. There's been previous games that I've played where that is kind of what I considered. It was like, yeah, this was fun, and it was kind of like in a way, what was being released was sort of like a new beginning in another game, and I was like, no, I had my fun, and this is kind of the game that I'll kind of always remember as like the time I most enjoyed with it. But that's totally fine to treat any game or MCOC that way.
But looking at For Loki, I would say that even For Loki, I feel like.
So let me ask you.
Oh, sure.
So of course I know you must have been thinking about all this prior to the 7-star announcement. Was there like how do you? Were there things about the 7-star announcement that you particularly liked, or does it still kind of push you in that direction of, like the current phase that we're in being the, your favorite phase?
I would say, let me say hello to my love. Hello, my love. Good to see you this evening. My girlfriend just pops in every now and then and says hello to me.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say this announcement is like, as I said, is one I was sort of dreading, only because it doesn't change the game for me at all. Like, it's still the same champions, and it's just a matter of scaling, having things that are more powerful. And so, I don't know. I think I would be, as I said, perfectly content to keep it the way it was. I understand the 7 stars, and of course I'm excited to open them. I can open 6, crazy enough, when they first come out. I have that many shards. And I know for a long time they're not going to matter much anyway, because of the the 6-star rank 5s. I mean, I have 1 right now, so I'm just even slowly getting up to that level, and so it's still a ways to go. So I bet even a year from now, maybe I'll have 10, but that's still pretty low in the scaling. And if it's like 6 stars, it wasn't until 6 stars were ranked 3 before they really outgrew the 5 stars, which again took a lot of time. So I don't know. I feel like I have enough time to not worry about it. And then I'm going to see, like after those 2 years, I would predict when I would start having rank 3, 7 stars. I guess maybe I'll have them all because again, the shards are so plentiful. I mean, my shards are crazy. I have 2 million 5-star shards, 600,000 6-star shards. I mean, it's just like so many shards just because it's like I can't even open them just because there's no reason to open them. And so maybe it won't matter. Maybe I'll have like almost all the 7 stars, and then I'll just be like playing the rank up game, which I play now anyway, which I don't mind the rank up game as much as I mind the champion acquisition game.
Okay.
And I guess part of me also thinks it will be fun, just like it was with 6 stars, to have champions I just don't use that much, because once the pool is limited. I mean, the problem with having almost every champion is actually the opposite. Is I probably play less champions than I do others because I just play the ones that are perfect for each situation.
Yeah, that's true.
So dread, but also, I mean, I still love this game so much. I still have so much fun playing it. It's like it really is just fun. I love being in Alliance still. I love all the pieces. The war Battlegrounds to me has been amazing. I mean, I'm addicted to it. I can't stop playing it. It's so much fun. And so it's like I think that's what's the most important part, is I still really enjoy it. And I think I'm going to try not to be a crazy crystal opener like I have been in the past too. I mean, again, I get so many shards, I feel like, from everything. Maybe I can just play the game without that part of it and have all the happiness that I want from it.
Yeah. And like I said before too, it's not something that you need to ever really totally decide on. You can see how that goes, of not, you know, um, spending as much on the crystals, and then if you decide, oh, you know what, it is gonna be fun to open, and then you could always change your mind later.
Yeah, it's true. Oh, yeah, of course. You always have the options. It's a strange game in that I feel like the rich get richer in this game, of course, because I remember when I was trying to crawl up through the ranks, I'd be like, oh, these other people in alliances get a tier 2 alpha every, alliance quest cycle, and here I get like, one tier 1 alpha. And
Yeah.
and so part of it, I do feel like this pressure if I want to keep on playing the game, at a level where I want to be like for Loki in an endgame alliance and doing the most challenging content, then you sort of have to stay relatively in that realm.
A bit, yeah. I mean, there definitely is some of that pressure, both from like a game sense and just like a little bit of a social one. Because yeah, if you want to kind of keep up with the other people that are keeping up, yeah, I could totally see that.
But I also think,
funny enough,
go ahead.
oh, sorry, I was just gonna say, I think I am gonna actually open up a few of the new crystals, um, depending on how
Oops, sorry.
that they were kind of hinting at. So I will probably actually spend some units on the crystals. I don't think I'm gonna do it beyond that event, but I'm actually gonna be opening some.
Yeah, I heard you say that, and I was like, shocking. But yeah, maybe if that event gives
Yeah.
you good rewards, it's worth it. Um, yeah, it will be. Yeah, again, I'm going to be curious to see what my restraint is like. Again, I don't think the 7-star matters. I don't think the pool is that good right now. I don't think you like the sig abilities to awaken them, all these things that will make him, basically just glorified trophy champions until a year from now at best. And so I guess I don't feel too much pressure to get many of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see what they're like. I'm always curious, like, and I do remember when 6-stars came out, like how much I didn't care about them.
Yeah. The focus definitely was on 5-stars at that time, I would say.
Yeah, and spending money, I realize too now, looking back on it, it's like I opened a lot of 5-star featured crystals in the past, and they're like worthless. And so it's like a worthless investment in the end, because like as the game changes, of course, the old rarities, they fall out of their usefulness. And so yeah, I definitely want to be a more conscientious player where I can just play the game, hopefully at a high level, but not have to spend like incredible sums to do it.
Yeah, I mean, you already know the best offers of the year to go for if you wanted to just, go for those ones. The, July 4th and Cyber Monday and all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it still adds up to be a pretty decent amount of money to spend on a game, but compared to, what could be with the unlimited possibilities of, the Cav crystals or Paragon crystals, it's a pretty good alternative, a good middle ground.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's how I want to be a spender in this game. I love spending for rank up resources, but crystals are, again, like if you either want to just get lucky and open like, 10 or 20 for fun, or if you really want to champion, I mean, that's a commitment of like 1,000 USD or 2,000 USD. And so yeah, I think those days may be over for me.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
But okay, let me ask you some of these questions. I'm really curious about the answers to all these.
Sure.
And so, do you feel positive about the direction of the game?
Well, so these questions, they're all gonna have some interesting answers. It's not gonna be just like a yes or no thing, because there's parts of the game that I do feel pretty, positive about. It feels like the game, um, it gets better over time. And Battlegrounds is probably the easiest example of that, where I feel like that just gave MCOC so much life, and it even gives people the opportunity to, organize things like tournaments that, like Vegas has done a lot of other people as well, but I feel like Vegas probably stand out the most amongst the community at the moment. And I feel like that's just kind of the start of it. There's a lot more that can be done if people, choose to. And then I'll be very curious to see how that could potentially, have like official tournaments. And one thing that was disappointing about the 7-star announcement today, I felt, was the giveaway. I kind of wanted that to be like a tournament prize, and that we could all be, kind of cheering for the people in the community that we like, and we kind of just create this drive for players to get even better than they already are, and really put everything on the line to try to be the first person to get a 7-star. That would have been exciting. But yeah, Battlegrounds in general seems like such a great addition to the game. And then there's other smaller examples of, there's been a lot of quality of life changes in recent times. And I think even something like the changes that are upcoming to Alliance Quest, even though I don't play Alliance Quest currently, that feels like a kind of like a long overdue change in the favor of players, where I'm a little fuzzy on the details just because I don't play AQ, but I think it's going down to like 4 days a week now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I remember reading it. I mean, to be honest, AQ is so easy compared to the beginnings of it, and when even you were in it. I mean, it's just like, it's almost, yeah, I don't even have to worry about it. I mean, I do my fights plenty of time, even though my time zone is totally crazy to everyone else's. And yeah, I saw the changes, and it will, yeah, of course, make it even easier, but it really is 1,000 times different than it had been in the past.
That's very true. Yeah, I hadn't even considered that, but you're right. So yeah, I think there's a lot of, positive changes that kind of allow players to kind of play the game they want to play a little bit more, and just, enjoy the game that way. But then there's also the kind of negative side of things too, where, you already used the word scaling, and I feel like that's kind of MCOC's downfall. If we had to sum up in one word, is scalability, where it's because the controls are a bit limited, and there's only so much you could do in any one game before it just morphs into something entirely different anyway, whether it was on a mobile device or a computer. It's hard to have a game that can scale forever. Usually the games that last the longest, they actually don't change, funny enough. Change is like great in the short form, but there's reasons why games like chess or Tetris, have been replayed for so long. It's because they are simple games that don't change. And MCOC, it slowly changes and evolves, but at the end of the day, the biggest thing that changes is just, a bit more attack, a bit more health, more, your champs deal more damage, or they can survive a bit longer. And it's the scalability in kind of every way possible in MCOC that probably couldn't be planned for at its original design. It's something that they've just been working at over years. And yeah, I would say it's not perfect. The game's still fun, of course, but it's not perfect. So I think overall the game is in a kind of a healthy place, and it's going to continue to last for many more years to come. I can confidently say that. But at the same time, yeah, I've stepped back for a reason. I don't necessarily want to partake in on like the cutting edge of that the type of scaling that happens in MCOC. So
Yeah, I was thinking about like if you came back to Alliance Quest and Alliance War, and yeah, I feel that you would enjoy it a lot more because I don't feel the pressure that we felt a long time ago. Just having to like be so available and have such like high ranking champions and all these different pieces. Everything seems more casual now in those two places of the game.
yeah, and funny enough, there's casual is good, but I actually do miss the times where it felt like everything that I was working for, every little inch that the game would give, would kind of lead towards this kind of grand, challenge that we're being faced with. So like Labyrinth of Legends was probably like the last time, maybe not the last time, but the for like the size of the content it was, because I didn't really feel that with the Abyss so much, or other pieces of content in the game. It felt like I was gonna get through it just fine, whereas I remember Labyrinth, just looking at it thinking, this is such a massive area of the game. How am I ever gonna get through there? I can't even beat Realm of Legends. How am I supposed to beat Labyrinth of Legends? So I kind of liked that everything I was working towards was kind of building on one another. Even though I wasn't going to use my 4-star champs in Labyrinth, it was my 4-star champs that I was going to rank up that would allow me to maybe play a higher difficulty of Alliance Quest to then get the catalyst to rank up a higher star level champion. And I missed that aspect of it. And if there was still kind of that to push towards, I probably would still be participating in Alliance Quest these days.
I almost feel like it is. I mean, I feel like it is more attainable just because we sort of reached that cap. Maybe the 7 stars change that, but I guess that goes to my next question: is like, do you feel there's any balance at all between free to play and people who pay for this game?
Well, I mean, there's some level of balance, of course, but it's definitely very much so favors paying players. Right now, I think the balance is probably in as good a spot as it can be, with kind of nearing the end of the peak time for 6 stars here before 7 stars hit, because whether you spend money or not, people are kind of doing the same thing to acquire champions. They're saving shards for featured crystals, and then could even start saving kind of early for like the next batch of featured crystals. Whereas previously that wasn't really all that possible. We've also gotten finally Sig Stones through Battlegrounds and some other content too, but Battlegrounds really kind of opened the door for that. Whereas before I left for Loki, it was like virtually impossible to get those things. I couldn't target new champions, and I couldn't get Sig Stones, so it just felt impossible. It's interesting because after I left for Loki, and I think this was just kind of a coincidence. I don't think it had anything to do with me leaving for Loki, but after I left for Loki, the game did open up a bit more and kind of allow players to catch up, and be able to play 6-star champs, whereas before that it just felt like I was playing 5 stars when everyone else if they spent money, they were playing with 6 stars. And that's a little bit of my worry with 7 stars as well, where I feel like, yeah, 6 stars are going to be sort of the free to play champion tier, and then 7 stars will be the premium tier if you spend a bit.
Yeah, I think it was interesting how the the 6 stone just became so accessible. It's like they were everywhere now. Like every store had them, every little side event had them. I mean, now I feel like they're, at least to me, they're like too plentiful. It's like I don't even care about them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm curious, do you know how many 6 star champs you have at max sig level?
I think I can actually search. Let's go search and see. Because it's I mean, and I think I could sig a lot up if I actually like had any care to. I just don't, just because I don't need to. But let's see. Can we sort by
Right.
sig ability? Sort sig ability, and let's see, and then filter by 6 stars. So this might just be a quick estimate. Wasp, Wolverine. What do these do? So I'm thinking I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think I have 44 at SIG 200. Probably 40.
Okay.
And then I
Okay.
probably have about, I probably could take another like 3 or 4 with the 6 stones I have up to SIG 200 if I wanted.
Right.
And of course, Sydney.
So if there's like, if there's roughly like 250 champs in the game, you have about like 20% of them at max sig, and of course, the others that are not at max sig, it's not like they're sig 0. But it's interesting when you think about that it almost feels like they're too plentiful. You said, right? Like you just don't even care about them.
Yeah, it definitely has outpaced rank ups because of course I have one rank 5 now, but my sig abilities are so much higher than them all. So yeah, the scaling was definitely out of proportion there.
Yeah, but it's funny to me that it still ends up only being about 20% of all champions, where I feel like if that was kind of stretched out over the years, where let's say it was the same number, the same end number from when they first introduced 6 stars, that was 5 years ago, and if that would have been less that would have been like less than one champion per month they got to like max sig. I feel like that would have been pretty nice. I feel like that would have made the 6-star process a lot better, but instead it's kind of just been more at the tail end of 6 stars here. And I mean it's that way for a reason, right? Because if someone wants to get their champion to a high sig level, let's not even talk max sig level, but just a high sig level, if the 6-star stones aren't really that available, that will encourage people to open up more crystals to try to get more dupes on them. And then the special offers will be more exciting and tempting that do include the 6 stones, the rare ones. And I feel like we're just gonna see that again with 7 stars.
Yes. I wonder if
just from like a business standpoint, it kind of makes sense for them.
Yeah, of course. I wonder if they'll be less generous in the number of like 7-star 6 stones, because I think that was, that one was a little bit misplayed.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Let's see. What about
Yusafa?
I know. I think he has like everyone at SIG 200. Yusafa is definitely winning the whale wars and for Loki these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, the gap between you two grows. I know it grows in leaps and bounds. Every gifting event it grows. What do you think about Battlegrounds? Because I remember that was like your hopes and dreams were all pinned on Battlegrounds, and now they've arrived and have been out for a few seasons. What are your thoughts?
So for the most part, I really do enjoy Battlegrounds and think it hit most of the my desires for a game mode like that. Um, One somewhat unexpected uh, part of Battlegrounds that it kind of changed my perspective in a shifted in a slightly negative way. It's just how complicated champions are these days. Where I was looking forward to, even if I wasn't playing and like competing in tournaments myself, taking this more casual approach, I was still looking forward to commentating on battleground matches, and I still think that'd be very fun to do. That's something that I would probably enjoy more than actually playing the match themselves. Um, but keeping up with some of the nuances of champions uh, is very difficult, and I thought looking back to some of the older champs, I could keep up with it even if I didn't play the champ very much, and it would be easy to kind of know all of their um, all of the pieces of their kit so that I can appropriately commentate on what's happening in the match. But some of these champions, they have these very nuanced interactions because a champion, if they have maybe a certain number of prowess buffs, they gain some sort of advantage, and that advantage is maybe only towards a specific class type. If they have a class disadvantage, then they don't get that bonus. And I don't know, just all the different ways to kind of counter things like that. It becomes difficult to keep up. So I'm a little disappointed that I'm not able to commentate, at least at a level that I'd feel comfortable commentating at. But other than that, I think Battlegrounds, yeah, I think they're great overall.
Yeah, it's interesting what you say about new champions. Like just this week, I was playing Cassie Lang and Future Ant-Man just to like figure out what they were all about, and yeah, they're so interesting and different. And I mean, I could play them and of course, I watch Karate Mike videos to figure them out, and then I quickly forget exactly what they do because they really are like
Yeah,
they have so many like things going on that unless you're really playing them a lot or fighting them in war or something like that, it's hard to remember everything about it.
yeah, exactly. Like I don't think there's any one champion in the game that's too complicated just by themselves. But because there's 250 of them, it's very difficult to remember what they all do.
Yeah, especially they do get more and more complex. Like you look at like Hulk or Vision. Every now and then, I like to look at the descriptions of champions, and the older champions have like 6 lines, and the newer champions have 600 lines. It's such a big difference.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And it's it's funny too. It's not even just like the number of words. That's of course part of it, but it's it's also when the champion themselves has a little bit more like interaction in the game. So like Viv Vision, where you have to like time her button presses from like a even just like a watching the game standpoint. You're now watching to see if the person is correctly timing those, and you're watching for like pop-ups on screen that tell you, and the different icons, converting one resource to another resource, um, and all of that is happening while you're kind of silently trying to remember the other utility that your champion has and the utility that the champion you're fighting against has. And yeah, it's quite difficult to remember it all.
I know the interactions are. I find that more and more in war too, just because I don't remember things, and so I have my officer, amazing, who just chatted Manuel. He's always like giving me the rundown. I'm so impressed. Like people like Cam, and I'm trying to think. There's so many people who have such an encyclopedic knowledge of all these champions. Karate Mike, of course, and they just know all these things. I'm always so impressed and thankful that I have them as resources. You think you're...
that.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, you think you would ever return to Alliance Quest and Wars, or do you feel like that part of your game is finished?
That's tough. I still feel like that is probably finished, but there's always a chance, you know. Kind of like what I was saying at the start of the conversation. Nothing has to be permanent. Um, it's kind of always there if I want to return to it. You know, I wouldn't necessarily be able to maybe keep up with the the best of the best players. I wouldn't necessarily be able to just rejoin for Loki in an instant or anything like that. But war is always there, and right now I don't really miss it that much. I was always hopeful that they were going to do more with Alliance War, and what I mean by more is just kind of changing how some of the systems work. It didn't necessarily need to be like more complicated. But just it just felt like the game mode had existed for so long the way it was, just with some minor changes here and there. And the minor changes, they were nice for the most part, but not enough of a change to make me want to keep playing it. One thing that I always wanted to see was, I was always interested in watching other people's Alliance War videos, and I feel like that was probably the time where Alliance War was most exciting for me. Where of course we've always had a high number of people in For Loki making videos, and I would watch all those, and then I would just go and watch other people's videos in other alliances. And there was I don't remember their name now, but I even watched a couple of Alliance War videos that I couldn't understand what they were saying, because English wasn't their language. So but I still watched anyway, just because I was interested, and that interest, it slowly was going away, where eventually I stopped watching Alliance War videos, for the most part, if they weren't in our alliance. And then I stopped watching even the Alliance War videos from the people in our alliance, and I stopped making Alliance War videos. And part of the fun for me is being able to kind of share that experience and share like the joy and excitement of something I'm doing. And like once I felt that going away, it was just kind of like, okay, yeah, I don't really want to play this version of Alliance War anymore. So if they changed it to something that I would be more into, then I would maybe return to Alliance War. But I don't really necessarily want Kabam to do that either, because of course that could upset the people that like the game mode as it is. So in one sense, I would love for them to change it, but I also feel like that'd be kind of selfish of me to ask at this point. So I'm kind of just staying away from Alliance War and Alliance Quest for the most part.
Yeah, it feels like both of those to me have reached like a really good point. I mean, they're both like, they have the right amount of stress and fun and teamwork, but aren't overly stressful or not so much time commitment where you're waking up at 2 a.m. And I love the camaraderie of the war, and it's sort of like the stable state it's gotten into in many ways. And just the other day I was watching some BMCG's videos, and I was like, wow, it's still, in Karate Mike's videos with Nemo, it's still to me like one of the few pieces of the game where it's like dying matters so much that you're just in this different state when you're playing the game. And yeah, I mean, I still have all the excitement. I totally get what you're saying, and of course, yeah, when you don't enjoy it, then it's not worth doing it. But yeah, for me, it still has not gotten old, and I like that it hasn't. I like that it's changed to be better of quality of life, but it hasn't really changed radically at all.
Yeah. I still do keep up a little bit with some Alliance War things. Every once in a while, I'll tune in to see how a certain fight went, or when Taters, was I'm not sure how much he's still posting them. Maybe I've just been missing them in my subscription feed here. But I did watch like a few of his videos, kind of going through like the new rating system he had to, delve a little bit deeper into the stats of alliances and like who they were going up against and stuff like that. And I found that to be interesting.
We had a field day with those.
I was always a fan of like the different rivalries that alliances had, even though it's such like a tight knit community. We of course had alliances that it just felt like, oh man, we never beat these guys. Wouldn't it be great if we beat them? It's always like such close wars. Or some alliances, it was like they would win one war, we'd win the next, and it would kind of go back and forth. And then of course you had different people that would do a little bit of trash talking. And although I didn't really want to do trash talking myself, I kind of enjoyed it, so I kind of miss some of those elements of it too.
Yeah, I love the spirit of it. I think, of course, that was one of the good things about For Loki. I feel like we always have a fun spirit about those. And yeah, no, I definitely feel like we have a rivalry with Taters and his alliance, just because it's, of course, like so many ex-For Lokians.
Yeah, definitely.
Sad they took this season off from war. I was talking to Carl about the other day.
Oh, are they really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know it until I talked to Carl. I was like, oh, I can't wait to face you. He's like, oh, we've taken it off. And so, I think that alliance definitely strives for balance in their lives too. So I think they go hard, maybe every other season.
Okay.
Let's talk about YouTube. I'm really curious about your career as a YouTuber, and I guess is this your career for the rest of your life? That's my first question about that.
Good question. I don't. So career is an interesting word to me because I think it means different things to different people. Where career could just be, what you're currently doing now to, support yourself financially. To others, it would be, something that, it is more of your lifelong endeavors. I don't really see myself doing one thing for the rest of my life. And I never really planned on, having this channel at all. It was always just a way to advertise, the website that I wanted to make, which of course, is kind of a big joke these days because I never ended up being able to do it. As hard as I tried, I just wasn't good at those skills needed. And the only reason I was making that website is because, I wanted to learn those skills. I wanted to develop those skills so that I could make a video game. I think something that I've kind of learned over the years is it almost goes back to that old saying of like if you enjoy your job, you'll never work a day in your life or something to that extent, mm-hmm. Which of course like is a flawed statement because anything you do, it takes effort. Like making YouTube videos, it still takes effort and streaming and all that stuff. But my kind of version of that is just finding some way to, finding some way to maybe like monetize something that you enjoy. And then just like whatever you enjoy, wherever life takes you, finding some way to kind of monetize that, so you can just continue to do the things that you enjoy. So that could be YouTube, or it could be I don't know. I could become a if I was more into like arts and crafts stuff, which I love, but not enough to to do it like that. But I could make jewelry and sell jewelry, or there's people on YouTube that they love woodworking, but of course there's only so much, there's only so many pieces of furniture that someone needs, but they just love making it, and then they'll sell it, and YouTube helps with that too, because then they film the process and get to teach people about it as they go. Because that's always an option too. It's just whatever you enjoy doing, you could always teach others the details of it and how to do it too. And so yeah, I wouldn't really call anything related to MCOC a career. It's more of just, well, this is what I enjoy, and in sharing that also helps to kind of support well, I was going to say support myself, but really it's a lot of other people supporting me. Combined effort to allow me to continue doing it, and whatever the next thing is, it'll probably be something similar. Like I don't really, like this hasn't been something that I went to school to get a degree and to then do, compared to maybe a more traditional path.
With streaming, and of course, I mean, it is your livelihood, and so I've always been curious about, like, one of the BG'sism is always to make content that you want to make, as opposed to trying to make what you don't want or other people think you should. But I feel like since you depend on it for your finances, have you foregone the the trying to make cool content like the long shot video because of I guess it's not a very efficient money making product to streaming, which is incredibly efficient?
Well, I don't know that streaming is that efficient. To be honest, there's definitely times and plenty of examples where streaming is, people are just so generous, and it still blows me away, but I would say like there's more people that probably like try streaming and then don't stream, like even if their goals are maybe more focused around like a more businessy type of outlook. Like for example, I mean, let's just look in the MCOC community itself. The biggest figure in MCOC in terms of just people like popularity and channel size and everything is Seaton, right? And I think there's a reason why Seaton made a lot more videos than actual streaming. And that's because videos you can always go back and watch. It also just might be what he enjoys too. I've never talked to him about it, but just from knowing my side of things is, videos you could always go back and watch later on, compared to live streams that someone might be very generous that day, maybe not another day, but it's kind of done in that moment. Whereas you could spend time making a video, and if people are playing this game another 5-10 years from now, people are playing this game when 9-star champions come out and everything, well, there's a lot of videos that people could look back to. And like if I were to make a guide for let's say, let's just say like Ghost, right? People have made plenty of guides for Ghost, and people know that Ghost is a powerful champion. They're still going to be typing into YouTube, how to play Ghost, 5 years from now or however long. So I think that like videos in many ways are very efficient. Streaming, the reason why I started streaming is because it was the most efficient way to talk to people. Because I started streaming before you could be like before YouTube had super chats, and I didn't have a donation link even. There were no channel memberships. There was no way to monetize a stream outside of, you know, like a direct PayPal link, which I didn't have. Um, but I started streaming because I used to go through and read every single comment on every single video, and I'm kind of surprised I was able to keep up as long as I did. But yeah, eventually I was sitting there for, you know, like 4 hours every single night after I got home from work, and you know, I was like, oh, you know, if these people are so nice that they want to comment on my videos, the least I could do is you know, like respond back. But it just became impossible, you know. Doesn't matter how bad I, you know, wanted to say thank you and try to help people, it's just not possible. So then I started streaming instead in that time, and it allowed me to talk to people. And I figured, well, if people, you know, really like, one, a lot of people ask the same questions. So I figured if I was answering someone's question on stream, it would maybe cover, like, you know, other people that had that same curiosity. Or sometimes you don't even know what question you want to ask when you're, you know, trying to learn something. So just even having other people ask that question and you know, hearing a response for it could be helpful. Or just if people really want to know badly enough, then they'll find a way to, you know, pop into a stream, even if they couldn't do it regularly. Hopefully they would be able to, you know, ask it there versus in the comments. So yeah, I mean, that's how streaming started. And then, like I said, people were eventually, when YouTube did add super chats and stuff like that, I never expected the level of generosity. That was very surprising. But I these days, the reason why I stream versus making content has a lot more to do with just streaming is it's mostly just playing a game and chatting. It's mostly just fun. Whereas making a video, I love making videos, but it's very difficult. It's one of the, like, it's a very tedious process to line things up exactly the way you want them to be lined up. And then it's also just like a mentally very taxing process where, you know, you're putting yourself out there, and you're trying to put out like the best, you know, version of yourself in many ways. Whereas on a live stream, it's just so casual, and people know, like, no, this is, you know, it's just someone talking. There's not really that expectation there. And from like a YouTube video standpoint, maybe there's not that crazy of an expectation either, but I don't know. I feel like it's very easy to kind of put that pressure on yourself to try to make something really great, something that people do want to, you know, look back to and share with others and things like that. So live streaming, it's kind of just low pressure fun, I would say.
Yeah, it's amazing. Even trying to make just simple war videos will take me, like, I could get sucked into it for 2 hours, and usually like an hour minimum just to do like 4 fights. And yeah, I mean, streaming is so incredibly easy. I guess I would feel like if I was trying to make money doing this, streaming would be like my bread and butter, just because, you know, you can just do it so often, the pressure is a lot less, and you would be able to, I don't know, you just don't feel as much stress, and so just more frequent too.
There's one other thing that's really important too, and this is more advice for if other people want to make their YouTube channels as well. It's very difficult to kind of get your name out there when doing either only or mostly live streams, because when people click on a stream, unless they already know the people involved in the stream, you know, people's attention span, it's so short, and if they're not immediately entertained or getting some great information in that that split second that they're on the stream, you know, they're out in 5 to 10 seconds time, and they're on to the next thing. And we'll probably like, and if the even the number of people in the stream isn't high, you know, people have a tendency to gravitate towards things that, if they see a high number, they're like, oh, there must be something good here. Let me click on this and let me watch this. So it's very hard to kind of get your channel even noticed doing live streams. So it's something that I'm very grateful that I kind of have that ability to do now. But if you're just starting a channel, you have to make videos, and you have to, you know, make a pretty good number of videos before people will start to, you know, see, you know, kind of who you are, and if they want to, you know, spend time in a live stream as well. So people often use the word discoverability when it comes to like streaming or making videos, and there's just really not much discoverability in like purely streaming. You have to make a lot of videos if you're looking to make it into you know, a career or something, to use, you know, your word on it. But if you're just doing it, you know, purely for fun, then yeah, live streaming is something I'd recommend for anyone, just to try and see if you like it. And you might not like it, just like anything else in the world, but it is definitely like a low pressure kind of fun.
Sort of like the same thing of being in a high level alliance, like the rich get richer. It's like those streamers who are popular, like their popularity can carry them, because as you said, people want to come and see them. And then even if you're really good but don't have, you know, a lot of viewers, then yeah, of course, it's just much harder to grow your channel as well. And so yeah, it's
Yeah.
and it makes me think about your channel. Like one of my questions was, do you feel like now that you're more a personality than a gamer, like is it because of you people are watching it, not necessarily much about MCOC? Or where do you find like the percentage of MCOC versus like just to hang out with Brian Grant?
That's a very interesting question. I mean, I think it's a mixture of both, because I'm not that interesting a person for one. maybe I'm more interesting talking about MCOC just because I have maybe a slightly different perspective than average or something, for better or worse, you know. Sometimes for better, sometimes for worse. But you know, there's nothing like particularly interesting about my life otherwise. So people definitely are not there like just for me. But you're right, and like I'm also not the most knowledgeable when it comes to MCOC either. So it's not like people are in the streams purely just because they think they're gonna, you know, become the next MSD if they tune into the stream. So there's some mixture of it where I don't know, I guess just sharing my perspective, and just I think just having that conversation, that open conversation about the game, it's just fun. You know, it's something that I kind of was aware of long before I made a YouTube channel. Was I knew I didn't have to be the best on YouTube. I didn't know that my channel was gonna, you know, get to this level. That's not something I knew at all. But I knew, and still know to this day, you don't have to be the best. And like the first video that I uploaded, it was like a progression video, but I started the game a year after everyone else. You know, so of course, like I was gonna be behind, but it didn't matter. You share your experience, and there's always going to be other people that download the game after you as well, even if someone, you know, just started today. So share experience with other people, and you know, just offering some friendly advice. I feel like those two things combined, anyone can you know, start a channel doing that. And yeah, I don't know, that's I feel like that's the best way I can figure out what's happened at least, and why people still tune in.
From my perspective, I would say you have a like ability like an actor would have. You have ability to, just like the bald cap industries. You have ability to make things interesting, entertaining, and yeah, I know you say you're introverted, and I believe it in real life as opposed to virtual life. But yeah, I think it's really underrated, like your ability to one speak well on stream, to be technically savvy, so you have a good stream that sounds good, looks good, and three, just to be like a good entertainer. And so I don't know. I guess I would say, like, if you ask me, I would say you're more on the personality than on the gamer piece. And yeah, it's just I mean, I try to I want to think it's more than luck that it just happened this way. That you are the same way Seaton. I think again more than just a gamer. I think he generally is someone very entertaining to watch. And so it's interesting looking at people who've made it well in this, and I feel like they have these innate skills that have come through in it.
Oh man, well Enzo, thank you, brother. You're too kind, dude. One of the reasons why you'll always be one of my favorite people, not just in MCOC, but just ever that I'll ever meet or talk to, is just I feel like your outlook on life is different than different than what sometimes can be the norm. Just I don't know. I you're so good at making people happy. I feel like that's truly such a great gift. I'm actually curious. I know you're asking me a lot of questions, but I'm really curious. Do you hear similar things like at your at your place of work? Do you ever hear similar things from other people that you just kind of bring joy to things?
Definitely. I feel like I've always had just a happy attitude, and it's been, yeah, I mean, all my life. Like I've never felt like the negativity of life. Like, there's always a good side to everything. I'd rather like dwell on the good than the bad. And so no, I think that part of my personality is pretty earnest, both in my YouTube channel and my real life. And of course I'm a normal human too, so like not every day is perfect. But it is interesting being a YouTube personality. I mean, again, the scope of me compared to you is much different, but I feel a little bit like my YouTube personality is overrated. And thank you everyone for saying such nice things about me. And yeah, it's what I want my channel to be. I want it to be a place where we just have fun and are not worried about things, and like are looking at the best parts of this game on playing and communicating with each other. And so yeah, I think it's probably it is an exaggeration of my real life, but it is similar to my real life that I am like that. And yeah, it's I would say that's one thing, of course, about YouTube is that you get to invent yourself as whatever you like to be, in which is always has a slant of that you control the narrative so much. And so
Yeah.
it's exactly what I want on my channel. And so I feel very like happy, maybe a little embarrassed, maybe a little like feel like it's too much, but I definitely appreciate that people like think of me as a good person and like being here, because it's like a good place to be. And so that's the best part of having my channel.
What's funny is I in some ways I think YouTube, I think I'm more negative on YouTube than I am in life. Like of course I don't try to have like a different persona on YouTube, but it's impossible just to be exactly the same way you are when like you have a camera pointed at you, everyone's just a little bit different. Even just taking pictures with friends, you know, you always try to like have a, you know, what you think is going to be like a good facial expression for that photo or something, you know. So YouTube is very similar in that way. And I actually think I don't know, but there's times where I feel like maybe I analyzed the game a little too much, of like, oh, is something good, is something bad. And I think it's interesting, you know, is a reason why I not only enjoy talking about it, but you know, other people enjoy talking about it, and people enjoy, you know, listening to that sort of thing too. But in life, you know, outside of YouTube, it's, yeah, I don't really analyze things as much, and I do focus more just on the good things. But like, I probably don't show it as much, you know. My face is probably more neutral at times, even though I'm, you know, thinking mostly just about either positive things or things that I want to work on, that you know, I think I'll have fun working on doing, just as like a fun activity or fun hobby.
Yeah, it's always interesting. Like the only time I've really been a YouTube personality was at that first Comic Con where I was at, and you were there too in 2019, and just yeah, having people come up to you, know who you are, and it was always weird just because they would come up to me and they'd be like, ah, Enzo. Of course, I had no idea who they were because I didn't see them at all, but they of course knew 100% who I was, and
Yeah.
yeah, it is interesting, like this alter ego. I mean, it is very like superhero esque in many ways, but yeah, I think it's one of those things where yeah, it's just part of life in this world of YouTube.
Yeah, you know, I've never had anyone come up to me outside of like you know, Comic Con or some MCOC meetup. I've never one time has anyone said like, "Oh man, you're that guy on YouTube." It's never happened.
Oh.
So, in many ways, I'm happy for that. Like, I'm still waiting for the day that it does happen, and I'm gonna be excited for that day, just because it's almost like it's almost like a supermarket having like the 1 millionth customer. You know, I'll be like, oh my goodness, you're the first person that's ever you know, noticed and knew who I was. That's so cool. But I also wouldn't want it to happen all the time. So like, I couldn't even imagine being like a movie star where everyone knows, you know, who you are no matter where you go. It's got to be so bizarre. Everyone knows you, but you know, you don't know any of them.
But when you were at Comic Con, you seemed very natural. You seemed like, you know, you were. I would say your personality from YouTube was definitely like the same one there. I mean, true for everyone. Same with Dreamin', same with Seaton, same with Pete. You know, everyone was like who they were. But and I don't know. It's also it's a strange environment at Comic Con because you are your alter ego as well, which is even more interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I would say I was trying to I was trying to be more outgoing, just because I didn't want to. I don't know. I wanted to seem very welcoming. Like, if someone wanted to just come say hello, I didn't want to give off any sort of vibe of like, don't talk to me or anything like that, you know. Um, it's difficult. Like, I wish, you know, there's I actually just had a conversation with a friend about this, where, you know, we were just walking, and you know, we saw someone else walking towards us, and you know, I was just saying, like, you know, I never know what to do in this situation. I want to say hello to every single person that I come across, just while walking, especially in you know, in like your own neighborhood or something like that. But I'm always afraid that it's going to come off the wrong way, or you know, especially if it's like there was, you know, it was two of us walking, and it was just like one lady, and I know, you know, of course, sometimes people have to deal with weird situations where that maybe they'd be intimidated if someone was alone versus like a group. But like I want to come off in that friendly way, and it's actually really hard for me to do because I'm maybe too caught up in my own head of is this going to feel like fake friendliness, or am I going to say something in the wrong way that's going to scare someone into thinking I'm crazy and now I'm going to stalk them or something. So it was actually it's kind of nice being at Comic-Con and just being able to be more friendly and not really have to worry about it so much of to like what other people are going to think, because this is a little bit more of what people see on YouTube. But outside of a place like that, yeah, I'm very much so more reserved because of some of those things.
Comic-Con was so much fun because being surrounded by people who are playing the same game, talking the same language. I mean, it truly was one of the most remarkable experiences I've had, because like you said, I usually just play this game totally alone. Like, it's not like any of my friends or colleagues play it, and in fact, I don't know anyone else who plays this game at all. I don't think anyone that I know of in my village plays it, and so it is it was amazing. Like, everyone just sitting there, you're like doing AQ, you're doing war, you're doing you're talking about strategies. It was such a good environment to be around people who actually were engaged with the game. It's such a rare treat, and yeah, I've missed that a lot.
Yeah, it was a great time. I think we had like half of the alliance was there or something. It was like 15 of us.
Yeah, no, it was an incredible number.
And then the other people, of course, that we've just become friends with outside of the alliance over the years too. So it was great. Like, of course, there's a lot of people that you don't know, and it's nice meeting new people. I think that was the first year that Clown was there, perhaps. I think that was that year.
I think you might,
or at least I don't remember if there was a different time. But like, it's interesting. Like, there were some instances like that where I met someone in person, like before they joined the alliance, before I knew them in game, and then you see their name in the alliance, and you're like, oh man, we just talked a few months ago at Comic-Con. That's so cool. And yeah, I loved all those experiences. It was so much fun.
So let's ask you some life questions. Let's see. Are you saving for retirement? I'm really curious about that.
No.
Oh no.
You have to have money to save for retirement. there's I often avoid like money questions on my own channel, not because I'm necessarily afraid to talk about that stuff, but I never want it to come off sounding like, oh, I don't have any money, please, give me all your money or something like that. I don't want to even have any sort of that, even if I'm not saying explicitly, I don't want anyone to feel that way. But because I'm not on my own channel right now, I feel like I'm a little bit more free to talk about it. Yeah, YouTube, it can be, at times, there could be a very good amount of like money coming from making videos, or just the extreme generosity of people in a live stream or something. But at the end of the day, it's not, for like the amount of time that goes into it, it's not that much more profitable than like a more basic job. Like, I would probably compare it close to like minimum wage here in the state of Washington, except instead of just doing it for like 40 hours a week, if you want to, you can do it for 80 hours a week, 100 hours a week. You can wake up every day and just make videos until you're, go to sleep that night or something. And it's a lot more fun than like the average job for that. And there would be ways to make more money too. But like I've never done any sort of like channel sponsorships and stuff like that.
That's one of my questions, and I'm
But
curious.
yeah, ultimately, I guess instead of like saving whatever money does come in, I just use it to fuel like other projects that I'm interested in, which I can't really talk about at the moment, but it all goes towards that. Where people talk about like investing a lot when it comes to like saving for retirement, just because I mean that's how you kind of use your money to make money, right? Instead of maybe interest rates in like a savings account is not that high or something, so you invest. And I kind of see it in a little bit of a similar way of, rather than maybe investing money into like a stock or something to that extent, I kind of just invested into whatever I want to do next. And maybe that next thing will be even more lucrative or not. And either way, it's going to be fun. So it's kind of a win-win, whether it's something that takes off or not. And it'll be a learning experience either way and fun.
Maybe two good questions. One from Matt asking about, do you ever feel like you have a big influence on people? And I find when I'm on my channel, like I'm not too worried about influencing people, except every now and then, like someone will say like I'm 12 years old, and it always makes me like nervous when I'm like interacting with people who are especially young. And so I think that is a few times I felt a little like, strange in my channel is when I know I like particularly young viewers watching my channel. Not that there's anything on here that I hope is like worrisome at all for anyone to watch, but it is interesting thinking about the influence. And I was thinking about that for you. Like, do you ever feel like you have like too much influence over people, or worried about your influence on people?
Sometimes. I mean, I don't think my channel is necessarily that large, where, I mean, even just to go back to like the other question, even too, of like, in saving for retirement and stuff, when I was saying like YouTube not that like profitable, it definitely reaches a point where it becomes very profitable, and like the people that have like 1 million subscribers and stuff like that, right? And I think it's kind of similar for like having an influence on people, where if I had like a 1 million subscribers, or I mean there's channels out there with like 10 million subscribers, I would probably think about that more. But even now, I do still think about that. You're right. It's definitely something you feel more when you realize there is someone very young in the chat. I don't know about you, but like I kind of just imagine everyone in the chat is like the same age as me.
Me too. Yes. Exactly.
Maybe not the actual like number age, but once you hit like adulthood, it's I just see it like, oh, everyone in here is an adult. But I do, even still, like, adults can be influenced too, right? So I try to, I don't know. Honestly, really, I just try not to influence people one way or another too much. Because I think the most important thing is just for people to kind of think for themselves. And then, if anything, I always want to be a little bit on the encouraging side as well, where it doesn't happen every day, but sometimes we'll have conversations of like someone asking, oh, maybe they are looking to go into like college or university, or to go into some field, whatever it is, and maybe they're just not sure about it, or there's even the rare instance where I remember someone asked, like, they were saying they didn't want to go to college, and like they're afraid of what they're going to say to their parents or something, how they're going to take that. And right away I'm just thinking, like, oh, I'm not qualified to answer this question. I'm just playing a video game here. But at the same time, in some way we're all qualified to answer questions like that, because we're all living in the same world, and we all have our own unique perspective on things. And yeah, I mean, I kind of remember what that was like. Of I dropped out of college after a few semesters because I didn't know what I was doing there in the first place, to be honest. I was just going mostly so that I kind of didn't let my parents down. So even just kind of sharing in some ways of just kind of sharing, like, trust yourself, but kind of encouraging whatever direction people are already naturally going in. Just have that confidence that they're not going to make a bad decision, and then trying not to. I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with like bad words, but even just trying to not like overuse them, because I think it becomes too easy to kind of fall in those traps. Even though I mostly try to keep it as family friendly as possible, but even if I didn't keep things family friendly, I still think it's more interesting to at least try to have a more expanded vocabulary, even though my vocabulary is not that large. But not just relying on certain words, things like that. I don't know. That's probably the extent of what I think about when it comes to kind of influence.
Well, I think, yeah, I feel like the same way. Like, well, actually, even in my normal life, I almost never use profanity. In fact, I don't think I ever use profanity, and people are always very impressed by that. Yeah, I feel like, yeah, there's no sense in saying things that would make someone angry or upset or something like that if you can control it. Someone else had a good question I wanted to ask me. Scroll up a little bit. Oh yeah, it's about the money. So I am so curious about, so you're not saving for your time, or you're not making that much money, but you could exploit your YouTube, I feel like, for so much more money. And I don't mean exploit in a negative sense, but it was someone said, like, if you did have some sponsors, like Raid Shadow Legends, which I see everyone sponsoring, I mean, would that, like, you have such a pure like ideology, but there's also like the realities of, like, you have a nice product that could make you money, that would help you, and so why have you steered away from that?
Yeah, that's a good question. There's a few reasons why. The first is that I try to live as cheap of a lifestyle as possible.
I know.
It's not just an MCOC thing where I'm cheap. I'm also just very frugal in life. And one of the reasons for that is just because it kind of enables freedom. If you don't have to spend a lot of money to be happy, then you also don't have to make a lot of money to be happy. And no one wants to do like sponsored stuff. It is for the money, right? Otherwise it wouldn't be sponsored. So even though it's often like necessary in order to like sustain and potentially support it, yeah, it's not something I want to do. So if I can just say, cut back on spending every way possible, and then not have to dedicate that time to, talking about Raid Shadow Legends, a game that I don't actually have any interest in playing, then I kind of rather go that route. where yeah, I just get to do all the fun stuff. You know, I'm not worried about having a fancy car or like going out to dinners and stuff. There's definitely things that I wish I had more money for, without a doubt. Like I don't know if I'll ever be able to get a house, but of course I would love to have a house versus, you know, always paying rent in an apartment. Um, that's probably like the number one thing, and then number two is, yeah, it would be nice to maybe travel a bit or something. So there's definitely things that I, you know, I want more money for, of course, but I also value just my own freedom of not having to do those things so much that it, you know, kind of outweighs the benefits of the nice things that you could spend money on. So that's one side of it. The other side of it is, I don't really mind when other people do sponsored stuff. It doesn't bother me. And I also should say this too. There may come a time where I do sponsored stuff. It's always been an option, and I always wanted to keep, you know, stay an option. Um, so yeah, I'm not anti-sponsorship for channels or anything like that. I say, you know, go for it if that's what you want to do. But there, for just personally, it I would feel funny doing it in, like, I feel funny promoting stuff in, promoting things that I don't actually use, that I don't have a genuine interest in, but you have to kind of, you know, fake that genuine interest in for the sake of that sponsorship of like, oh yeah, this, did you guys know that Raid Shadow Legends actually is the best mobile game? You know, it's not, or at least not for me. You know, I'm sure many people actually like it, just the same way that, you know, people have like Kabam has paid people to say nice things about MCOC for other channels, but they don't play MCOC actually, right? So I don't know. There's just like that disingenuous feeling about it. That's a little part of it. And there's, unfortunately, when you are as cheap as I am and trying to, you know, protect your freedom of not having to spend a lot of money on things to be happy, there's not that many products out there that I would necessarily feel comfortable promoting. There's one time ever that I reached out to a company to try to do a sponsored deal, and it's the posters that are on the wall behind me, because I actually like those posters. You know, I actually put them on the wall for a reason. I think they look cool, and they said no. So that's the one time I ever reached out, and they either weren't interested, or maybe they didn't have it in their advertising budget or something. I don't know. But there's so many other things. I get emails almost every single day of companies that want me to promote something, and like I said, maybe eventually I will, but for now, yeah, I just, I not, yeah. I guess that's it. That kind of sums it up.
What does Laura think? Does she share your like these goals and aspirations and lifestyle, or do you two like, you know, have different like I don't know if agenda is the right word, but different philosophies on how to move through life, or is she pretty much like lockstep with this?
We're definitely different in some ways, for sure. Yeah, she would want she wants to travel a lot more than I do, and I think Laura wants a house even more than I do, because like, even if we just had a very small backyard, that kind of makes it a lot easier to have a like a pet, like a dog, you know. So like when Lola passed away, we realized that it's just very difficult to you know, have a dog in an apartment. and it's doable, and you can, depending on like the breed of dog, they'll be plenty happy enough where, I don't think you need to feel guilty about it or anything like that. But just for our own happiness too, being able to, to do that would be nice. To have like a little yard.
So is she like?
So yeah, but I don't know. At the same time, Laura's always been super supportive of, she knows how we've been together. Oh man, I think more than half of our lives at this point. Let's see, or maybe like just about, just about half of our lives at this point. So, I think she knows that the most important thing for me is that I can just have fun doing what I love. And like I said, maybe the next project will end up being something that leads to those other desires. Who knows? But at the end of the day, yeah, it's just about having fun in life. As I think we kind of both agree on that, Laura and I.
That's amazing. You must be super solid to have existed so long together, and especially, obviously to support your career, and I'm sure you support her career. That's incredible. It seems like, to be honest, it seems like a very much a dream relationship. I know, like everything, there's this, I'm sure, good and bad times, but no, it's good to see people can like be a YouTuber, live cheaply, play this game, have fun, and also have a very committed, long relationship.
Yeah. Like we kind of keep our relationship mostly off of YouTube. not because we're hiding anything, but I do think it's important to point out that, yeah, just like any relationship, romantic or otherwise, there's, ups and downs. You take the good with the bad. My kind of perspective on relationships, even though no one asked, is I don't necessarily think of like, oh, you have to find like the perfect person, like the one person in the entire world that is a perfect match or anything. The way I see it is, we're both just kind of we're just on a journey through life together, and we kind of support each other with whatever we want to do. And of course, we know each other very well from all the years that we have been together. And you just can't really. It's not something that you can really trade away. Even today, right? If I found someone that, oh, I thought this person was like an even more perfect match or something like that, it wouldn't matter, because there's already such a history where we've gone through so much, and we've traveled, moved across the country with one another. Even though we actually went to high school together, we didn't meet in high school, funny enough. But we were in the same school, and we finished our last year of high school together. And those years of life especially can kind of change who you are as a person before you kind of settle into who you are as an adult. So like that I feel very fortunate to have that kind of experience of of just being with someone that we know each other so well.
It's really interesting in this game. Like, I played games when I was young, and I was young enough when it was like the Atari 2600, and then the Macs came along. But then in university, I stopped playing video games. And I really didn't play. I mean, I played like Angry Birds or something to like pass 20 minutes, but never like a game that's committed to like MCOC. And then I started playing it, got committed to it, and I really was embarrassed by it. I was like, here I am, like, I think I was like in my upper 40s then, it's like, what am I doing? I'm like this, 40-something-year-old man playing this video game, and it's been so cool meeting so many people, like in For Loki, like all these people who have kids and wives and play this, or husbands, and are very committed to this game too, and it's part of their life as well. And so that's been a real like eye-opening thing to me. And so now, like in all my like recent relationships, I've been very upfront about, like I play this video game, and it's part of my life, and I'll play like 1 or 2 hours a day, and yeah, I was so worried about having relationships and people like knowing about this, that it was nerve-wracking for a while. But now just one, having so many people who have it and can exist with this game, and then also be able to like have a real life too, and not be embarrassed by it.
Yeah. I mean, I was definitely, I shared those same embarrassing feelings, not with MCOC, because I had already kind of gone through those feelings with other games, but I had also kind of felt similarly, where like I didn't even want to tell people, how much time I spent playing games. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's just how, what do you enjoy? I think if you enjoy something, there shouldn't be any reason to any reason for embarrassment, unless it was, of course, like if you were hurting something doing what you enjoyed, then that's a different story. But if it's just a form of entertainment that the only one you can really hurt by playing too many video games is yourself. If you overdo it, there's nothing to be embarrassed by.
Yeah, it just always seems
fine.
Such a childish thing, but now I realize that plenty of adults play and love it, and invest a lot of time.
Yeah.
So my streams are usually 90 minutes long, so I've gone over just that. I just want to ask you one more question, of course, the most important question, which I'm very worried about the answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway. And it is the "do you like cheese?" question.
Ooh. Well.
No. Boo.
This is a...
I knew I was right to be worried.
Well, here's the thing. It's never an easy answer for me, and so
I know.
So I have a history with cheese. There was a period of my life where I did not have a good balance of cheese in my life. I was eating too much cheese, specifically cheese pizza, and not that I'm the picture of health right now, but there was a time where I was eating so much pizza that I was having like chest pains at like my early 20s, and so yeah, like I cut back a lot over the years, and even to this day I have to kind of treat it with caution, the same way that someone who would maybe struggle with like alcohol or something would have to really be careful. And there's still times where I eat some cheese, but for the most part, I actually don't eat cheese too much anymore.
And of course, the follow-up question is if you ever had fondue, which is of course our national dish in Switzerland.
I've never had fondue. I know what it is. It always looked like fun, because everyone just like dips something in like a melted cheese pot, right?
Yeah, it literally is a pot of melted cheese that you dip bread in and eat bread with melted cheese.
Yeah, that sounds great, but no, I've never done that.
Okay, well, that's all the more reason you need to come over here, though it might kill you.
One day, I would love to. Oh man, Enzo, the area that you live in, it looks like a dream. It looks so great. It looks, you have, I don't know how far away the mountains are that you traverse, but I don't know. It just looks so great.
I mean, Switzerland, it's hard to imagine. I mean, I feel every day I wake up and I feel like I'm the luckiest person in the world to get to live in a place like this. I mean, my village is on the side of a mountain, and I mean, Switzerland, I mean, of course, it's an extremely wealthy, like very, what can I say? Very um, just affluent country and beautiful, clean, but so much fun. You know, oh, we have a pump track here. I want to get you on the pump track, get your BMX days.
Oh, that would be great.
And the mountains are here. I'll take you up some fun and exciting things. And Lord, have a great time. And yeah, anytime you want to come over, I mean, you just get yourself over here on a plane ticket, and everything else is taken care of for you. So whenever you're ready, you just let me know, and you're always welcome.
I would love it. One day we're gonna have to make that happen for sure. Because yeah, there's there's not I do want to travel. There's not that many places on my list to travel to, just because I don't really know that much of the world, but your area is one of the places on my list for sure.
Yeah, and it's always good. Like when I travel now, I only want to travel to go like Comic-Con when I'm doing something that is cool. Like I don't want to go to New York City, but New York City is fun with Comic-Con, and so no, I'm definitely only traveling for places with people I know and enjoy.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, thank you so much for the conversation. It's I don't know. I feel like it's been many years since I just want to be able to talk with you about these things, and another 1,000 episodes won't be too far away, so we'll definitely have to do this again one day.
It's fun. Whenever you want me to come on and talk about stuff, I'll always I'll never say no. Let me put it that way.
Amazing.
I'll always be willing.
As we say in French, je vous remercie infiniment, which means I am infinitely thankful.
Well, I can't say it back, but same.
Good talking to you, Brian. You take care of yourself, and yeah, paths will cross soon enough.
All right, sounds good. Take care, and take care, everybody in the chat.
You too. Vida Loga. Oh, that was an amazing conversation. It is it's so good to get to talk with someone. Sorry, chat. Sorry for all the people who I didn't express anything. Yeah, exactly, yourself. Boston was great to hang out with you. That was the best part of Boston, to be honest, was eating oysters in that place. Thank you, Jesse. Yes, should be a twice a year thing. Yeah, maybe we'll try to do it twice. It would be about right. And yeah, thank you all for joining me tonight. Rosti is one of our national dishes. Manuel also. Yeah, rosti, raclette, and fondue are the three big ones of Switzerland. All are cheese. One is cheese and bread, the other is cheese and potatoes, and the third one is cheese and ground potatoes. So that's how creative the Swiss are. Thank you all for watching. I should be back tomorrow night, I think. If not, I'll be on. I'm trying to stream a few times a week, so I'll be on soon again. As I always say, please stay safe, happy, and healthy. Same for your family, same for your friends. And I hope to see everyone very soon again in another episode of the Friend Zone. This is Enzo Agen of the Alliance for Loki, wishing everyone a bonne nuit, gute Nacht, and good evening. And thanks, BG, for the conversation. Oh, wait, I have one more quick surprise. Sorry. Before we go. We'll go to Big Enzo real quick. Prepare yourself, Giant Enzo. There you go. There it is. Enzo and BG immortalized in trinkets. So that's it. Bonne nuit, everyone.